Tanya.
And don't forget about a potential knight takes pawn. Do not forget about a potential knight takes pawn.
Yes, that's a huge threat. Knight takes f5 is a huge threat. Knight c4 is a huge threat. And knight f3 check, g takes f3. Oh, and you can't pick up the queen because of the fork.
Oh my goodness.
What a tactic. Magnus missed that.
Magnus just reacted. He just saw it. I think he was relying on knight f3 to discover check, picking up the queen, but he realized it doesn't work.
But how do you win this position with 20 seconds left? Magnus is about to escape with his king. It's not over.
20 seconds. Alireza coming in with all his pieces. Rook to e5. I think it's just really hard for black to make moves. b4 always in the air. He's eyeing that c5 pawn. If the c5 pawn for black falls, the position falls apart. And we see the blue arrow make an appearance. It seems like that's the way for white to go.
Well, b4 is basically a pre-move at this point. I would play king e7 if I'm Carlsen and then try to put a rook on d8. Try to set up some sort of a threat. Now he's down to a minute on the clock. And obviously this is not the kind of position that you can even survive in, potentially with 1 hour on the clock. King e7, rook takes f5 is a possibility. b4 by Firouzja was a pre-move, but watch out. Knight f3, Tanya, is a huge threat. That's a family fork against the queen and the rooks. How do you defend against that? 15 seconds for Alireza. How many players have lost their minds in a situation like this against Carlsen?
Oh, the queen is coming in.
Fast.
The dark squad weakness that we were talking about earlier. Queen g5, queen h6 ideas on the board. It might be time for the black king to run the other side.
5 seconds.
Magnus going under a minute. Alireza in bullet mode. But Magnus should be getting checkmated now. How is he surviving this?
Magnus's king has superpowers. It's impossible to bring it down. Now, queen takes c4 is probably a draw. If you take the knight, Alireza will have a perpetual check, much like Magnus did in the previous game, but Magnus is playing for a win. What a gutsy call. 2 seconds for Firouzja, keeping the queens on the board. Oh my goodness. Pandemonium.
This is still a fight. This is still a fight for all 3 results. I'm not sure what's going on anymore. It feels like the black king is absolutely safe, surrounded by its own armies. The pawn structure for black is doing a great job of saving that king. And right now, Magnus has extra material, but he's walked into a thunder.
Oh my gosh, there was a win there. I have no idea what it was. 2 seconds. Alireza made his move with 0.4 seconds. But Magnus at this point is just making 1-move threats, hoping that Alireza panics with his mouse. Rook to d4. There might be queen f2 trapping the knight. I'm trying to get a hang of what's going on. Magnus is probably just going to go back to d4. That would be my guess. No, he pre-moved 95. He blundered his queen. Or did he? He's lucky. Alireza's so lucky that he's 97. I don't think he planned for rook d4.
This is crazy. Alireza at 4 seconds. And now Magnus is touching the 10
Magnus blundered his exchange.
What on earth is happening?
Magnus is going to lose his knight. He's got to go g3 and knight g4 because knight d5, there was rook takes d5. Magnus is now worse. Rook g8
He has to give up a pawn. But then you just go king f2 and rook king f2, I think, was the way to go. He takes with the knight. Now you can't go rook g1, Daniel, because h4 is hanging.
Now Magnus is going to win this game. Magnus is going to win this game because he's picking up Alireza's pawns. Magnus is now in the driver's seat somehow. This is one of the craziest CCT games I've ever seen. Magnus taking all of Alireza's pawns. But wait a second. Rook takes a6. And Firouzja's going to have that pass b pawn. He has to avoid blundering a fork. A draw?
Oh my goodness. That would be unexpected. But also... And it is a draw. What a roller coaster. And both Magnus and Alireza react. They've got a smile. They shake their head. They can't believe it. Daniel, I can't believe it. What was that game?
Well, the craziest moment was when Magnus played rook to d4. I'm telling you, Alireza was expecting a knight to land on d4. So he had pre-moved knight e5. He blundered the queen. And somehow, miraculously, he turned out to have a fork on d7. I will show that moment.